Buckle up.
Guys, if you haven't seen this trailer yet, why are you watching this breakdown anyway?
Yeah, what the hell, people?
Quit messing around.
But there are a lot of story details in this. If you're somebody who prefers to go in clean,
Well, take a shower, for God's sake.
you might not want to dig into this trailer because it's got a lot of stuff in it.
Eyes up here.
So it opened with, again, this scene where the buildings are toppling into each other like dominoes in Metropolis.
Mm-hmm.
You can see in the background the Luthor Quartet. We've seen the shot before.
We see people running. We haven't seen that before. We're hearing once again, Lex just doesn't like this guy.
Yeah.
He's already being snide. Superman.
So then we get this shot. This was in one of the TV spots. This building is falling on the bridge, as we've seen. But now we see a woman who's trapped in a car who, I guess it won't start. There's a little bit more of this in the TV spot.
And this building is going to pancake her.
And then she looks and Superman has stopped the building and giving her enough time to drive away.
And I like the fact that even in that moment, which is him trying to shoulder an entire skyscraper, it is kind of like the look over. Their eyes meet. Because she's sort of like, oh my God, I'm almost dead. And he's just looking over like, yeah, don't worry, I got it.
And so they don't show this in this trailer, but in that TV spot, you do see her driving away to safety. And then I guess in the context, that's a shot that is here, him floating above the dust that we saw in the last trailer. And then a close up of him looking at her driving away with concern. And his suit looks so gorgeous in that shot, which is not in the trailer, it's in the TV spot. But yeah, gosh, it's so great. They could have just had this one scene and have that be the final trailer. Like, yes, I'm there.
Actually, sometimes when they do a trailer that is just a full scene, sometimes those are very effective. But I think, again, they listen to how people respond to stuff, and I'm sure they're like going, we still need to show them it's a pumped up action movie as well. This trailer has a lot more puncharoo.
There's some punching going on.
Which I think is a word I just invented.
Puncharoo?
Yeah. It's got a little more puncharoo in it.
So then we finally see Luthor and his cronies.
Yep. Tessmacher.
At the door of the fortress. He's hacked the system somehow.
The S shield opens. They walk in.
Possibly Ultraman is a clone of Superman. That's why his face is covered. So if that's the case, his DNA probably activates the door. Him standing there.
I like it. Yeah, you think they're going the bizarre route?
I do, and I'll get to that later in the trailer.
I know you will. I know where you're going with this.
There is something weird about the later scenes that I'll point out.
There's something weird, and we don't see it clearly, which is
yeah.
By the way, over all of this, we're still hearing more of Lex doing the Superman, the most powerful being on the planet. And then he says, as the door opens to the fortress, and I'm sure this has nothing to do with the fortress scene. It may have the Luthor Corps scene. But he goes, we meet at last.
We finally meet.
Interesting. And then he basically says,
now, as planned, I'll destroy you.
I'm going to destroy you. I mean, he literally just says that. The engineer is chopping up robots, and Lex goes to the big, sweet Kryptonian desktop computer, and there's just dead robots everywhere.
Yeah, and there is one thing we didn't see in the previous trailer. They cut right before this happens. One of the droids jumps at him from an upper level, and one of the engineer's blades intercepts it before it hits him, and Luthor's just keeps walking, like doesn't even react to any of that.
That's the thing, is he just don't care.
And the blade flies right in front of his face.
Yeah, no big deal. He's totally unfazed because he's Lex Luthor.
He says something here, too, in the dialogue, too, like, and that reporter that writes all those stories about.
That reporter you always do interviews with.
I thought he was referring to Lois, but some people are saying, oh, he's probably referring to Clark Kent.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, mainly because the trailer does cut to Daily Planet, and immediately it's Lois and Clark making out.
Right, because Lois, I think, is the one who's famous for having written about him.
Well, except for, don't we discover that, and this is through the interviews, where they say that... one of the things that she's pissed about is how he got, famous for all of his exclusives with Superman.
Oh, okay.
And where she's like going, ethically, that's pretty lame. And he's like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. So it could be Clark, because Clark would be at that point, I guess, the Superman guy. That shot of the Daily Planet is gorgeous. And then, there's the makeout session. And then I love where he goes,
who raised you as a child?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, yeah, I'll kill them too. So there's a quick shot of Mom and Pa looking over the weakened, beat up Supes. And I just love, over to the right of Ma, I love that. That is the clock radio everybody had in the
Oh,
80s.
yep, yep.
That little alarm clock radio. That's
Sure
hilarious.
enough, there's a shot of Lex. It shows the White Martian character that we were talking about
Oh
from the
yeah,
from the
that's right.
scenes.
That's when he says, "I'll kill them too."
There was a behind the scenes shot of this alien. We're like, what the hell is that? That's where a lot of people are saying, is it a white Martian or is it parasite? All these other weird theories.
Yeah,
And you could see these two levers. And I said, I wonder if that's how he controls or flies this platform.
yeah. I think that's what we're seeing
Yeah, that's what's going on. So this is apparently somebody who works for Luther and is
in the Pocket Universe.
like flies this little taxi thing through these cell blocks, whatever this
Maybe he's
is.
just like a protoplasmic being,
Yeah, who knows? I have no
and
idea
I
what
have no problem with that.
this guy is. Yeah.
One of the things that you'll find out about Brendan Jones is that he's open to all kinds. So I'm saying I'm pro protoplasmics.
And we will talk about that later. No.
We will.
Hey, Chad in the edit room here. So I had totally missed this, but James Gunn had revealed recently that this alien that's driving the platform is actually a creature that Lex Luthor created in the lab, basically. And this is his only job, is driving this platform around. And his name is Mr. Handsome. But yeah, this looks like a scene where he's probably captured Superman and is taking him to that cell that we see
And
him
just
in
basically
later.
saying, "Yeah, I'm going to wipe out everybody you care about."
Yeah.
Because
So
I'm a villain.
you're going to
Bad
have to get
dude.
used to it.
Get used to it, man.
And then we see, Superman crashing in the Arctic from the first
Yep.
trailer.
And the smuggest Luthor shot.
Yeah.
Right after that,
Yeah, I love it.
where he's just like looking down from his, we still don't know what the hell kind of office space this is or command center. But yeah, he's looking down, looking very smug. Maybe this is kaiju battle scene or something where he's like going, yeah,
Kaiju or Hammer Bravia.
that dude up. Yep.
And then we get some new shots of the kaiju battle after this.
Yes, we do. Some really sweet fire breathing action.
Yeah.
This is the kaiju figure that has fire breathing action.
Not
Doesn't have the
not
blue
the slime
goo.
belly.
Not the slime belly. And again, pretty clear stuff you can see. Obviously, the huge screen. Again, whatever news broadcast that is, and Big Belly Burger.
Yeah, a little correction too. We had assumed in the first trailer that was Will Reeve, Christopher Reeve's son.
And now
it's not.
It's clearly not, because we can see him much clearer.
Yeah. So, oops.
There's some beautiful flying stuff of Superman flying through the jet of flame. It's just already the flying sequences. The way the camera is both close at some points and far away, and Superman weaves and bobs. It's gorgeous.
So then there's a shot of Lex doing this. I can't remember what he's saying here.
He's saying, "Hi, everybody. How you doing?" No, he actually saying, "Wrap it up."
Okay. Yeah.
Because basically Superman is like, whatever you're trying to do, Luthor, it's not going to work. And then it cuts to Luthor. I know he's not responding to that, but in the trailer, the cuts to him going, "Wrap it up." So I think he is literally stage managing whatever attack this is.
Yeah, I think you're right.
A later point in the trailer when he says, "You chose him over me," they can all die.
Right. The citizens
so
of
in
Metropolis.
other words, I think he set up, again, I'm speculating like a Chad Smalley. I think he set up the kaiju or Hammer Bravia, or maybe more likely it's the kaiju, and he was hoping that his raptors, now we know his soldiers are called raptors. I think they were supposed to go out and save the day. Superman ruins that, and it was supposed to make Luthor look good. And he sees that the people are cheering or whatever because Superman's winning the day. He's like, fine, well, fuck them. They all die. Which is very, very Luthor, because Superman takes him out, as we're about to see.
This very next shot after he does the wrap it up thing, we see Superman battling. I'm guessing it's got to be Ultraman because it's the heat vision again. Looks like in a city sewer or something.
Yeah.
This is where it gets weird because Ultraman's no longer wearing his mask.
If it's him.
Right, if it's him. And it looks like it's either a hood or some kind of long hair.
Well, in the scene that we see later, it's a little more clearly like shaggy hair.
Shaggy hair. But in this scene and those scenes later, it looks to me like they blacked out his face for the purposes of the trailer. That's my theory, because they don't want us to see his face at this point.
The idea of a shaggy-haired Bizarro, kind of cool.
Yeah.
It'd be another way he's different from who he was cloned by. But yeah, whoever this is, if it is Ultraman, full on heat visions the fuck out of Superman.
Full on. And you can see there's a hole in the ceiling in the sewer that they've obviously that's probably how they
You
fell
can
into
also
where they
see that
are.
there's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza. Dear Liza, there's a hole in the bucket. Dear Liza, a hole.
A hole. Yeah. Sorry, we grew up with Sesame Street.
So fix it, dear Henry, dear Henry.
You were like, is he going to do the whole song? Yes.
I'm going to insert that Sesame Street bit now.
Oh, but it's a pretty badass shot, as are all the shots in this trailer of any kind of heat vision. But then we cut to Superman looking up, and he basically says, good luck with that.
Yeah. They edited it as if he's responding to Luther. I have a feeling he's not. That's probably
it has something to do with something else.
This was a shot that came out in the Entertainment Weekly article yesterday, just yesterday, I think. But it does look like that's in this weird dimension again, these strange cubical geometric shapes.
The scorched eyes thing, which is a little bit throwback to, I think, Alan Moore when he did that great Superman annual. And one of the very famous panels of any Superman book, especially the 80s, is when he just goes burn.
So one thought I had was, if this is like shortly after he escapes the prison with Metamorpho, where he was weakened by kryptonite because of Metamorpho's hand, maybe the first time he uses heat vision, after that, he's not fully charged up. So he's like, ow!
I think it's after he takes out all the raptors, which is a scene in this trailer.
Yeah, could
because
be.
he's taken out like 40 people with his heat vision. So I kind of assumed it was after that.
Or maybe just being blasted straight in the face by Ultraman too.
Yeah, could be.
I don't know. There's lots of different ideas here.
But he zooms up out of this thing that he's in.
With Krypto.
And now we get one of the best shots of the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Basically, Superman and Krypto, they are attacking or being attacked by two of Luthor's armored people. And Superman pretty much easily takes care of one of them. And then they do this team up thing, because Krypto goes to the other one and pulls his helmet off so that Superman can then full on whack this guy in the face. And then the guy's teeth fly out right at the camera.
And bounce off the camera lens.
Which is so wacky in a way that they're acknowledging a camera's here. But
and I have a theory for that too.
It's the drone theory, right?
Yeah. And this could be just thorough James Gunn having fun and, a little bit of a fourth wall break with the teeth bouncing off the camera lens. But we've seen that these drones, at least during the Hammer Bravia fight, I don't know if I've seen them in any other scene in these trailer bits yet.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, then these drones would be everywhere filming this kind of crap, because that's exactly what they would be there for, I would imagine. So that could be what this is, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that.
By the way, it's just, I've said this even before we got this trailer, which, like I said, has more, puncheroo. Isn't it kind of just nice that we have a Superman movie where he's flying around and punching people?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love when Superman lifts things, saves people. That's great. But comic book battle scenes, I'm just happy I'm seeing them. And it's just so great.
You also see Krypto turning to fly towards another guy right after that, who's coming up on the side.
Job's not finished. He's off to somebody else.
And Superman's expression after he punches the guy is like, he's got this taking care of business expression on his face, and he still has the burned eyes. We see that a lot in this trailer.
I didn't like the needle drop where they actually play Taking Care of Business.
So then it turns and we see him flying off down this rift that is literally split Metropolis in two.
Yes, and we see that later when it's doing it.
He's flying towards what looks like a big cloud of what I'm guessing is more Raptor troops, because we see that later. There's a huge mob of them around him.
Yeah.
So that's what's probably where he's headed. Then we do see this. Here we go. And then we see the rift actually racing towards Metropolis through the bay or whatever it is. We saw a little bit of this in the first trailer, and you theorized that, maybe this actually impacts the city and
hell, it really does, because then we literally see the city being split down the middle by this chasm of blue material, blue stone, blue crystal, something.
It's pretty freaking cataclysmic.
Yep. And then we get, I know your favorite part of the whole trailer, which is a face-off of Soups and Guy Gardner.
Make a move, Big Blue.
Yeah, make a move, Big Blue. And it does speak quite a bit to Guy Gardner and his ego. Who the hell confronts Superman? And just looks him in the face and is like, come on, come for me. Even Batman wouldn't do that. He would probably say, I could shut you down, but whatever. But the whole goading, It's so Guy Gardner.
It is totally Guy Gardner.
I will use my freaking ring, man. Let's do it.
And not just that, we've seen so many, especially in this trailer, this specific trailer, we see so much great, as James Gunn has been teasing us, science fiction-y, Silver Age, DC Comics and Superman stuff.
Yes.
This one line of dialogue, for me, takes us deeper into the comics than anything that we've seen so far. It's just because he calls him Big Blue, because it's another superhero calling Superman by one of his two most common nicknames in the lore. There's Soups and there's Big Blue. And most of the time in my memory anyway.
Or Big Blue Boy Scout if you're being like the snide villain guy.
It's often other superheroes who are referring to him as Big Blue.
Yeah.
And I fucking love it.
And then again, it's just what we have been reacting to since the beginning of what James Gunn set out and kind of hinted at. We've talked about this in almost every, and I'm sorry guys, if all this is repetitive and you're just like, well, I'm out of the channel. Well, one of the things that I love is that this is a lived-in superhero universe. And James Gunn, of course, in the recent interviews, because people did ask, they're like, yeah, superheroes in this particular universe, how's it? He goes, oh no, they've known about metahumans for like 300 years. So it does explain that this is a world of workaday heroes and villains with colorful names and costumes and powers. And while most of the people really don't want to interact with any of these people because it would screw up their lives, they're used to it. And he's like saying it's not, he used a King Shark as a reference. He goes, this is a universe where if a huge human-like shark man is walking down the street, you would still freak out, but it wouldn't be as big a deal because you've seen stuff like this on the news.
He specifically said it would be like seeing Paul McCartney walking the streets of Manhattan.
It'd be like seeing Paul McCartney walking around New York.
King Shark, Paul McCartney, same thing.
It would be unlikely and you would remember it, but also it would not be people literally just shitting their pants because there is a shark man. Yeah. So this is that world. And I'm all about it. Just like you said, just the fact that Guy Gardner and Superman are sharing the screen and there's familiarity and a little contempt. I'm loving it. Plus Superman doesn't say a word to him, but he's basically just like he has his arm up against his chest. Like, you come forward. This is going to become a thing. Oh, love it.
So this looks like, from the background, you can kind of make it out. This green tinted light in the room. I think this is that same scene where they're in the Stag Industries lobby.
Oh, yeah. And he shuts them off with the
a Green Lantern privacy, or Green Lantern Corps privacy
screen. Yes, that's awesome.
So this is right after the crowd is very angry with Superman at this point in the story.
Yeah.
So, and they're having some conversation about whatever it is that has pissed off the public
and the Justice Gang. Now, I know this is CG in the next shot. I mean, maybe some of it was like, David, can you strike this pose? But literally, if you just frame it into the next shot, which is Ultraman running at Superman, who's kind of flying straight at him in the baseball field. Good Lord. It's just a comic.
Yeah, it's
like,
gorgeous.
I just posed it, and it just means whoever's doing the CG is like, yeah, let's go ahead and lean into how they pose in the comics.
Yeah, that running pose is so spot on.
And he's above the earth, but it is still at sort of ground level-ish. And the way the cape is and the way he's moving forward. And yeah, the trunks look great. Shut up, everybody.
Yeah. We know that they did some wire work in these shots.
So this probably, as always, is a combo.
Cape is definitely CG. Some of it,
I think the cape is CG for the entire movie, except for like walking scenes and things like that.
Right. Yeah.
From what I've seen from the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this, that we've seen this before. What happens right after this is Ultraman pushing him down the turf on the stadium.
Yeah, but you like the finishing move, don't you?
With a body slam.
Yeah.
So great.
Superman's able to, it's like, he's like, but then he's able to flip him and then just pile him into the earth. And that's what I'm all about.
Yeah. And these things were easy to miss in the last trailer, but we saw this fight in the last trailer where he's up against Engineer when he's twisting and trying to dodge the blades that she's throwing at him. You can see Ultraman on the ground behind him, so that might be
he takes him
right
out.
after
That's probably
this.
it. And then we get Michael Holt throwing some T-spheres right at us. I wasn't ready for them coming right at me. All right, Chad, that's all I'm saying. That looks awesome. And then some trippy stuff.
the weirdest shot in any trailer I think I've ever seen. I had to look at this several times to piece it together. So I'm like, what the hell
Well,
is
maybe you
going
can
on here?
explain what's happening over on the left. That I don't get. But on the right, you've got Metamorpho. As very often with Metamorpho, his head is still recognizable, but he's created tendrils and he appears to be holding up Superman in some weird void, and Superman is holding onto Baby Joey.
Yeah.
So that all registers. But then there's like something furry over on the left that I have no idea what that is.
It's Crypto.
Oh, is that Crypto in like hyper close up?
See, he's like kind of off. He's kind of in the foreground and off the edge.
And he's probably spinning toward us or something.
Yeah. Well, I think he's like this, like facing in the direction of the camera.
I had no idea what that was. I was like, that's got to be some weird alien, or
Yeah,
maybe
I know. I thought it was some weird, like, never-ending story kind of creature because I didn't notice Metamorpho's face at first. I saw Baby Joey first thing, but I was like, what is this creature with the tentacles and the white fur? I thought it was one thing, but no, it's Crypto, and you can kind of see his cape flapping behind him.
And maybe this is the escape from wherever the pocket universe, because
that's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah,
weird sort of I don't even know what you'd call them, but sort of pixely boxes in the middle of space.
It looks like Minecraft bricks. That's what it looks
kind of like.
It's really
but
weird.
Also a nice close-up of something that you love, which is the yellow shield in the back.
The yellow shield, yeah. What's interesting about the shot too is that because Superman's kind of like this, you can't see his face, but his arms are kind of floating in front of him.
Yeah, no, I think he's kind of out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that he's still holding on to Baby Joey.
Yeah.
So even when he's unconscious, he's remembering, oh yeah, I got to protect the innocent. Yeah, there you go.
So Metamorpho in this moment is being the hero, and you can see him kind of looking towards the void, like he's like, oh shit.
Yes.
Oh, it's so cool. But yeah, this was something I pieced together after when I was editing our video from last week where we were talking about the toys, that Luthor Core lab set thing.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I didn't pick up on until I downloaded the commercial for it or watched some other videos about it because I was trying to find a good picture to put in the video. Those little cases that they come in, because they're both in these little containers. You're supposed to fill those up with slime.
Yeah.
So I thought, so Luthor probably has at this point captured Crypto and Baby Joey. So they're not only saving Baby Joey at this point, but they're saving Crypto. So that's why we see all of them in this shot.
Uh-huh. And clearly that is the most Superman thing is like, I'm going to not just break out of here. I know that he's using your son as like a bargaining chip. So I'm going to rescue Baby Joey too. And
I love that it's clear. I was picturing before, like, okay, Metamorpho helps him get out of the cell and it's like, good luck, Superman. But
no, I think they're going together. The long run.
Yeah, they're together. It's great.
They're going together? Okay, man. I don't want you spreading rumors about Superman and Metamorpho. And then we cut to the clearest inside shot we'll see, at least presently, of the T-ship. And Lois is flying it.
With the core members of the Daily Planet crew.
We've seen them get out of it. It's also just badass that Lois is flying the T-ship. It's just, that's comic book good.
And this raises all kinds of questions, which we'll just have to wait to find out what the answers are. But, we've seen those other scenes of Lois with Mr. Terrific and Varavia or wherever that is. So maybe because he gave
her a quick breakdown of how to fly the T-ship.
So in the next shot, after they take off, you can see they're leaving the Daily Planet. So they're going off somewhere. Who knows? To try to find Superman. Also, really interesting about the shot. Look at what's with them in the ship. Jimmy's holding a laptop. And there's a bulletin board full of research that they've been doing. Did you notice that?
Yeah, over on the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it literally has a cork board with the yarn. I didn't even clock it. Jimmy's been putting together like a murder board. And over on the right, who the hell is that photo of? Looks like a military person. And
somebody said it was General Lane. Why he would be part of the story, I don't know, but it's not necessarily the case.
Have we seen in the casting if there is a General Lane in this movie?
I don't know.
I mean, it would make sense that maybe Rick Flag Sr. is familiar with or has worked with General Lane.
If they're going off on an important story, though, it makes me wonder why Cat Grant is there.
I know. I know. Cat Grant and Ron
and Steve Lombard, yeah.
Is Lombard behind? I don't see Steve.
You see him in the shot where Lois is going, okay, hang on. You see Steve Lombard getting into a seat behind her.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Hey, loser. You're a loser.
Thank God the sports reporter's there and the entertainment reporter. And then we don't know where this is, but it's Superman making use of what's around. He picks up a huge steel pipe with some concrete on it, and he's swinging it like a hammer, and he's swinging it at mysterious Shaggy Man
with the blacked out face,
who we're all speculating is Ultraman without the mask. And he wails on him. I kind of applaud the CGification of the cape, just because they are being very aesthetic about how this should flap around like the comics. Because every time I pause it and it's just as still, I just look at it going, Jesus, look at the cape.
Yeah, when it gives them a lot more freedom with the kind of shots that they can do. So
true,
that's great.
And also, it's not going to be awkward like when you watch Adam West, God bless him, doing an action sequence on Batman 66. Yeah. When you actually have a cape and how awkward and he's having to keep batting it back.
Yeah.
Get out of my way. But this looks great.
Batting it back?
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're back to that revolution. And now more people are joining the little boy raising the flag, saying Superman. And we cut back to Luthor. He's angry.
Yeah, he's
stomping through his whatever that is, control center.
I didn't notice this before, but his employees, if you look at the guy who's on the far
yes,
he's looking at one of his coworkers like, this guy's nuts.
This is not what we signed up for. Yeah. He is insane. But this is where he says, they chose him over me, they all die.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, that is just, he's not a good dude.
No, man. I'm telling you. And this next one is my favorite, I think.
Is it?
Just because of the dialogue.
Hey, quit messing around.
I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff.
Yeah, no, this is great. This is in that same thing where he was standing. What I think is he was standing saying like, bring it on or whatever, when he was standing on that weird platform.
Good luck with that.
I think that he was then assaulted. I think he was blown up or something. And he's in pain. And he's got the scorched eyes. And then Miss Terrific gives him no slack.
Stop messing around.
He's like, stop messing around. He goes, I'm not messing around. I'm doing some real important stuff.
Yeah, you can see he's recovering from whatever just happened. But what's interesting about this too, now Superman is not affected by gravity like a normal person anyway.
Right.
But he's lying on the ceiling of this thing.
Yes, he's lying on the ceiling.
From Mr. Terrific's perspective, it's a ceiling of something, and he's lying on it like it's a floor.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. I think this is again the rift that's opened, I'm guessing, between the Pocket Universe and Metropolis. And so gravity is kind of weird.
Oh, so that you think that's what the chasm is, you think?
You can see where he's turning around and saying, hey, I'm doing important stuff. Off in the right corner, there's all this stuff flying into what looks like a vortex, like getting sucked into this vortex.
Yes, stuff is falling out and into, yeah.
So
I just like how, I mean, it's not casual because clearly he's not crazy vulnerable, but this movie's going to have Superman fighting and getting hurt. And just the fact is like, yeah, give me a minute, okay? Could I just take a second? Yeah, it's just humanizing.
You know what it is? It's very Harrison Ford. It's very Indiana Jones.
It's very Harrison Ford. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not messing around, doing very important stuff.
Yeah. I'm making this up as I go, that kind of thing.
Oh, I don't know. I'm making this up as I go.
I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
That's exactly the vibe. So I'm all about it.
So great.
And then we get very close on the S, and we see all the texturing on the suit.
This is the shot that people are losing their minds over, and I don't blame them. It's so badass. This
is Superman in air, and he's pivoting, and behind him you see the Raptors, you see Luthor's men. This is back to the sky battle that Krypto will join him in. But what happens here is there are dozens of these dudes all kind of zooming in at him, and he just sort of pivots, and then he lets loose with the heat vision. The whole screen kind of goes red, and he just swivels. He just spins in midair and is just decimating all these people.
So great.
And it's really good looking.
So, and my first thought was like, and I've heard some other people saying, well, is he killing them? And no.
Oh, no. No. Because it's Superman.
This is a thing, and I think a lot of people sometimes forget this, that his heat vision doesn't have just one setting. He's got degrees. All through history in the comics, he has had degrees of heat vision power. He can use it he's performed surgery.
He can also, he can narrow the beam. He can widespread it. It's similar to Cyclops, only he has control over. And Cyclops isn't heat anyway. It's
Yeah,
force, not
exactly.
heat.
Even in Man of Steel, when he first meets Lois in the Arctic, he uses it to cauterize her wounds.
Yes, yeah. And I'm assuming since he knows this armor and all of his super senses, he probably knows every weak spot. He probably knows the density of the metal because he's Superman. And he probably is just knocking out power systems. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
And they're dropping, and I'm sure they'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
But it's also comic book. So even me, I just over-explained it. I think in the movie, you'll just go, no, he didn't kill him. Look, they're fine.
And it could be a team effort too. We don't see it in the shot, but it could be the Guy Gardner's there about to catch them in a big mitt or something, you know?
Yeah.
Who knows? This next shot of him flying, and I didn't notice this before, he's got the battle damage suit on.
Yeah.
Flying fast as hell, probably to the Arctic, because he's probably just found out that the fortress has been compromised. That's my guess. He's like, fuck.
But he's doing the arms back flying at the beginning. And what I do like is the now I mean business, because we finally see, and it's one of those, I think one problem people had with those shots where it's sort of like centered on his head and it looks like kind of a GoPro thing. It's all about the force perspective, the force shortening, because they're purposely doing kind of like a hyper perspective. Because when he puts his fists out, it's even more pronounced, like sort of the depth of the camera.
Yeah.
But it's also full on Superman pose where he's got the arms out and he's punching through. And then the camera zooms around to a side view of him flying. It looks really good.
I love it.
And then that's the end of the trailer. Bottom line, trailer's great. Couldn't be more excited. I'm very ready to see it. I don't mean to brag, but Chad and I unfortunately will not be able to watch it together. But we are seeing it before most of you suckers. We're both doing the Prime thing. So the special screening on the 8th. So we'll see it about 3 days before everybody else. And I'm very excited.
I'm really happy that that option was there because I'm going to be traveling the weekend that this comes out. If it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't be able to see it till the middle of the following week or something.
I don't want to imagine a world where I saw it and you hadn't seen it yet. That's not a world I want to live in. So very excited for that. This looks amazing. Thank you, Mr. Gunn. Sorry that we've now figured out your entire film and we'll have no surprises for us. But man, let us know, P-Saps, what you guys thought of the second trailer, or I guess final trailer as they're calling it. Also, let us know what you think about our merch. That's right. I am actually wearing a Prodigious Saps hat. I didn't make it on my own. You can get your own right below us there. There's links to our t-shirt, which looks like this. And again, this is all handcrafted by Chad Smalley. And our trucker cap.
Handcrafted. Yeah.
Which, by the way, this isn't me just pitching it. It's very comfy. And I wore it on the trip out to Providence. It was very
cool.
Nice. And it is cool because it's trucker cap. It breathes.
Yeah, it breathes.
Eventually, people are going to find out.
I know this is one of the TV spots, but we have to mention that scene where Lois is going, eventually they're going to find out that you're Superman. And he's like, yeah, but the glasses, come on.
Yeah, but the glasses.
He goes, no, the glasses, no one knows. It's so great.
I love that they're actually going to address that.
All right. So anyway, that's our examination. Forensic examination of the final Superman trailer. Join us here next week for more whatever this is. Okay, bye. Bye, everybody.